What is going on, guys? It is wild to think that this year is already coming to an end. I feel like this year just flew by, but it's like, then again, I feel like I say that about every single year, so nothing's really changed. It's also crazy to think I've almost been doing this YouTube thing for a year now. That is wild, dude. And I do want to send you guys a special shout out for all of your support. And in 2022, I'm still going to be going strong, still going to be putting out more good content, and I would love to have you guys along for the ride. I feel like this year has also been a great year for games. I feel like a lot of really cool titles have come out. Obviously, I haven't played all of them, but I have played a few, and we are going to take a look at the games that were released in 2021 that I thought were the best. Before we get into that, this is Brews and Board Games, so I figured we got to show a little bit of love to the brews. So I figured we would take a look at my favorite new beer that I tried in 2021. And that award is going to go to none other than Trois Pistoles. This is by Unibrew. I love this stuff. This beat all the other ones by a large margin. It was funny because I first tried this on the Solomon Kane playthrough that I did. And this didn't happen on camera, but right before I started the playthrough, I opened up the beer, and this aluminum foil was hell to get off. And so I took it off. The beer just kept overflowing constantly, like nothing I've ever seen. It was all on the floor. I had to clean it up. But I made a joke in the video that, if your kid has that, does that classic science fair project with the volcano, use this stuff, pour it in there, and they are going to win first place because this did not stop overflowing, dude. It was nuts. But like I said, this is by Unibrew. This is 9% alcohol by volume. This is a Belgian style dark ale. Now I also want to read you the little section they have on the website because they put it a lot better than I can. So it says, strong malt flavor, slightly roasted with aromas of chocolate, brown rum, spices, and herbs. Fantastic. And the flavor is full-bodied palate with notes of lightly smoked rum, grains, herbs, and spices. Guys, I'm telling you, I love this stuff. I think it's a Canadian company, and I tell you, and it's cool too because the artwork is also really nice. I actually bought this for the Solomon Kane playthrough because it's, it's got this church, it's got this dark horse on there, so it kind of fit the theme with the artwork, but it turned out to be just fantastic. And there's a cool little backstory behind this horse in this church, so I suggest you guys check that out. It is really cool. Love this stuff. It is phenomenal. I highly encourage you guys, if you see this in stores, pick it up, give it a shot. You won't be disappointed. So with that being said, let's get on to the games, the meat of it, right? So we're going to be taking a look at 10 games that were released in 2021. Now, there are going to be some games that are kind of second editions, but they added new enough things that I thought justified them to be on this list. So number 10 is going to be Chronicles of Crime, the Millennium series by Lucky Duck Games. If you guys already have played the original Chronicles of Crime, you already know kind of what this game is about. This one added 3 new games, 1400, 1900, and 2400. Now, each of these adds a little bit different of mechanics than was in the original. And I really like all of the things that it added. This is a true crime investigation game. If you guys love that sort of stuff, me and my wife do, right? We're all into that stuff. We listen to audio podcasts. We, watch Dateline sometimes. We love that stuff. And this really gives you that feeling of you being an investigator solving these crimes. You're going to have these cards out on the board and you're going to have to scan those with your phone. The phone has a fantastic app and you scan them and it tells you different things over the course of the game. Locations are going to be added, characters are going to be added, and as time goes on, things are going to change throughout the scenario. Maybe a character leaves a certain location and they pop up somewhere else, or a new incident happens throughout the game. So you're going to have to uncover these things, put clues together, and it's just a really cool game of making you feel like you are the investigator in this crime scene. You're going to be able to, talk with the opponent, and you're going to be like, no, I think they did it, right? No. And they're going to be like, well, you know what? I did think that, but then this person came up and they said that thing that I kind of feel like, exonerates this one character. It's just fun to interact with the other people, talking about the scene, talking about, what you're going to do next and everything like that. This is a fantastic game. I highly rate this game, not just on the top 10 of 2021, just overall. And the best part is you can play this solo as well. You don't need that other person. It's more fun to have that because you guys can communicate and talk about different things. Maybe they have some information that you didn't think about, stuff like that. But playing it solo is fantastic as well. You just get to, sit there, take your time piecing some things together. And it's fun just investigating the crime scene. You got the phone and you're looking around. Dude, it's just a blast. If you are into crime stuff, anything of that nature, this is probably your game. It's easy. It doesn't take up a lot of table space, and the app is fantastic. Very simple game, but a lot of fun. I highly rate this one. So this is going to be my number 10, Chronicles of Crime, the Millennium Series by Lucky Duck Games. And on to number 9, we have a game by AEG called Cubitos. This guy always reminds me of SpongeBob. But this is a game called Cubitos. This is a push your luck dice racing game. Think Quacks of Quedlinburg, just with rolling dice. This is a lot of fun. Perfect family game. So on your turn, you're basically going to be rolling all of these dice and keep pushing your luck to see if you can get more results. And each of those dice faces are going to do different things, move your guy around the board. It's a small little track too, so it's pretty cool. It doesn't take up a lot of table space. But over the course of the game, you're going to get more and more dice, different colored dice. There's, I think, like 8 or 9 different colored dice besides the ones you start with. And each of those dice are going to do different things. But the coolest bit about this is those dice, they have a certain card that pertains to, what the faces on those do. But each of those colored dice has probably about 8 or 9 cards, different cards. So you can potentially change up what those colored dice do each game a little bit, right? So even though you have all of these options, you can change up what the colors do different games, giving you a fresh game each time. This is a really fun game. There's different spaces on the board that are going to do different things. You can get rid of, bad dice that you don't want to roll anymore, so you can keep rolling those good dice. And even if you bust on your turn, there's a separate track where you can go up each time you bust. And the more spaces you get up on that track, maybe it's going to allow you to roll more dice. So it kind of has this small reward system for busting as well. I have a lot of fun with this and with the family. Dude, this is a perfect family game. I'm telling you, a lot of fun. We really like Quacks of Quedlinburg. I love the push your luck element, and this is fantastic. There are these cool little dice too, and just rolling all of those dice. I love dice games anyway. So this is really cool. The artwork is cool as well. Perfect little game. Love busting this out with the family. Awesome stuff. Cubitos by AEG. And moving on to number 8, we kind of have another second edition, and this is going to be Kemet, Blood, and Sand. I did not play the first edition. I saw this on Kickstarter. I was interested. I always heard good things, but it's funny. I still didn't get this from Kickstarter. I ended up getting this through Game Nerds after it shipped. But this is going to be a really punchy dudes on the map game set in the Egyptian theme. You're going to have to acquire 9 victory points, and those points are going to come by different means, whether by conquering temples, building up your pyramids, and just winning battles. But this is a really fun game. Like I said, it's really punchy, and you can do a lot of different things on your turn. It's kind of going to be a little rinse and repeat with the battles, right? Recruit guys onto the board, go try to conquer the temples, build up your pyramids to accumulate more and better powers, and just try to win as many battles as you can. But my favorite thing about this game is the powers themselves. You're going to have to choose what colored powers you use at the start of the game. And throughout the course of the game, you're going to be able to take these tiles from those powers, and you're going to be able to basically beef up your faction almost. And I mean, it's stuff like, whether you want to do red, which is more aggressive, maybe you get more strength in combat, or maybe you chose like a white power where you can get an extra prayer point when you pray. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with those powers. And it's cool to build those up so your faction gets a little bit different as the game goes on. And you're going to want to build up your pyramid so you can get more and more better powers. I think it's a fantastic game. I like the artwork on here. My only gripe is that I don't think it's a good 2-player game. The board is really cut down to like a third of the board, it feels feels like. So it's kind of this super confined space. And you might say, well, hey, look, it's supposed to be a punchy, in-your-face game. I get it. But I think you can still do that while giving, more space on the board somehow. But either way, I really like this. It works really good at 3 and above. Not so much 2, but the theme is good. The artwork is fantastic. The minis are awesome. My favorite is that giant scorpion. He is just awesome, dude. I love it. But so far, I've been having a blast playing this game, and I can't wait to get a few more plays under my belt. So that's going to be Kemet and Blood and Sand. Fantastic game. Number 7, Destinies. This is another one by Lucky Duck Games. They have such a knack. They do such a phenomenal job mixing that app-based system with a board game. This one's going to be a little bit different than Chronicles of Crime, but this one's going to be kind of like more of an adventure dungeon crawl game. You're going to have these tiles you're going to flip over. You're going to be interacting with different locations, different people, and you're going to be doing skill checks on your turn to see if you pass or fail. And throughout the game, you're going to have these wooden tokens on your player board. Now, when you roll dice for these certain checks, those dice are going to have certain values on them, and you're going to check those against these wooden tokens. And depending on how high that die number is compared to where those wooden tokens are determines how many successes you have. So throughout the course of the game, you're going to be able to, have to move those wooden tokens down. They give you a better chance to get more successes. That's just a fun little thing. And not to mention just going around the board, interacting with all of these people. Time is going to go on, so you're going to have to do different things before a certain time limit. Things are going to change. Characters are going to move locations as the days go on. It's just really fun to just go around the board, interacting with these people, trying to perform those skill checks. It is a lot of fun. The story is pretty cool as well, but it's just, you can get lost in just going, oh, I got to go here. Okay, I got to talk to this person. Oh, I got 2 silver items for, one of my things, right? One of my destinies, right? I won't spoil too much more, but it's fun to do that sort of stuff throughout the game. It just keeps you invested the entire time, and I found myself just hooked. Me and my wife had a lot of fun playing this game. I also did play this single player. It's not as fun doing it solo as it is going up against somebody else, because when you're going up against somebody else, it's like a race to try to fulfill your destiny, and that's a lot of fun. A lot of times it can come down to the wire. It can be neck and neck, and that's just a lot of fun. But solo, you can kind of take your time going around doing different things. Sure, the days are still going to go by, right? Things are still going to change on the board. And it is sometimes fun just being like kicking back and just doing some story elements and stuff like that. But I found it more entertaining and more enjoyable playing with more players. So that's going to be Destiny. A lot of fun. They're really small little minis too, so they're cool. They're not these big hulking things. So you still get the mini feel, but you don't have to pay as much for it. And the scenarios are really cool as well. I've been having a blast with this. Artwork is also fantastic. And the app for this, like Lucky Duck Games in general, is really solid. I have had no problems at all. You just scan the cards and it does different things. You have a lot of item cards that you can use as well, whether you scan them or, discard them for different purposes. I feel like they really hit a home run with this game, combining that app with the board game. Fantastic job. All right, what are we on now? 6. 6 is going to be Ruination by Colossal Games. This is set in a post-apocalyptic setting. As you can see, dude, the artwork on here, fantastic. This is going to be another really punchy dudes on a map game. It really rewards combat. You're going to be playing as a faction, and you're trying to get the most points, and you're trying to win the con's favor. So throughout the game, you're going to be able to get more resources to acquire more nomads, upgrades for your factions, and throughout the game, you're going to be able to conquer different locations, control more bastions. But like I said, it really rewards combat. So you're constantly going to be winning these battles, losing these battles, getting more points, and losing a lot of figures. But the cool thing that I like about this game is, even if you have a lot less troops on the board and it feels like maybe you got 3 troops and the opponent has 10 troops and you're like, how am I ever going to get back in this? I think this game does a fantastic job of allowing you to get a lot more recruits onto the board. So you're constantly going to be, easily building up your armies and easily battling the opponent. So I really like that. It really says, hey, you can battle. Don't worry about losing your guys. You're going to be able to get them back. And I really like that too. And like I was mentioning on Kemet, Blood and Sand, about the map is kind of small. This is one of those games where it is a fantastic 2-player game and you're still playing with the full-size board. You can move around the board very easily, but you don't feel cramped at the same time. I really enjoy this game. I think it has a lot of cool mechanics going for it, and me and my wife have been having a blast. Like I said, it is a fantastic 2-player game. I keep going back to this if we want to play like a really punchy game, and right now, it stands a little bit higher on my list than Kemet, Blood and Sand, just because I think it plays better at 2-player. And that's important to me because most of the time when I'm not playing solo, I'm playing a 2-player with my wife. So really cool game. If you have a chance, give this one a look. I feel like it doesn't get enough praise than it does currently. The artwork is fantastic. The board art is really good. I have been really enjoying my plays of Ruination. Number 5. This is going to be more of a newer acquisition for me, and this is going to be Dinosaur World by Pandasaurus Games. I have Dinosaur Island, and I think that game is okay. I didn't mind the color scheme as much as other people, but when I saw this, I was hoping it was going to give me more of that Jurassic Park feel. Dude, that was my favorite movie growing up as a kid. I love that movie even to this day. I love dinosaurs. So I want that feeling of Jurassic Park. So I got this also through Game Nerds, and it delivered. It really delivered. I have been enjoying my plays of this a lot. I think they changed up the mechanics enough, and they really drastically changed up the artwork to make you really feel like you are building a park. I like the worker aspect. You got to choose different workers. While you can do most of the same things with whatever color you use, there are going to be certain things where different color workers give you a better bonus to those actions. And I like that. I like building the park up. It feels so much more like a park now with those big tiles. It looks beautiful. And I think acquiring the DNA is even easier in this one. So building the dinosaurs is a little bit easier as well. But my favorite part that they changed in this, basically besides the artwork and the park feel, I guess this still ties in with the park feel, is the Jeeple tour. Dude, I love moving the Jeep around. I think it is so cool, and it makes you feel like you are going through and visiting your park. And I love the element of, if you visit the same location multiple times, you're not going to be as excited to see the same things over and over again. So you're going to get less excitement from visiting those same locations. And I really like that. And honestly, I didn't have as much of a problem as I thought I would, remembering to change that excitement value. I found it actually kind of easy. But you're just driving your Jeep through the park. You're getting more excitement, and you're going to get more coins. You're going to place workers there. I really like this a lot. I also found that element of upgrading your security and upgrading the Jeep section of your board highly rewarding. It was a lot easier to do than in Dinosaur Island, and that whole Jeep part really gave you a lot of benefits because you get those benefits at the end of your turn as well, and then as you acquire those, you get them. So it really said, hey, the Jeep isn't just a tacky add-on. It can be a really good strategy in the game, and I used it effectively. This one was close to in the few games that we played. It really came down to the wire, because it might look like, hey, I have more dinosaurs than you, but it also depends on a lot of other factors. And I had a blast with it. And again, just the part about it looking more like a park and feeling more like a park is enough to win me over. This, so far, I've been having a lot of fun with it. I haven't tried the solo mode yet, which I am really looking forward to because I play mostly solo. And it does help that the dinosaur meeples in here have the artwork on them as well. So when you put those meeples on the board, it actually feels like you have that dinosaur made in the park. Overall, man, I've really been enjoying my plays, and this was one of those games that right after I played it the first time, I wanted to play it again. I've really had a blast with this, and it really does give me more of that Jurassic Park feel, which I was looking forward to. All right, number 4, we're getting down to it. I played this one on the channel, and this is Solomon Kane by Mythic Games. Guys, this game is based on the stories of Robert E. Howard. That dude was a phenomenal writer. I love the Solomon Kane stories. I love the Conan stories. And I think Mythic Games did a phenomenal job of making you feel like you are playing through those stories. It isn't one of those games where you just read a little bit of the story text, play the game, and then read some story text afterwards. You are going to be having constant story throughout the whole game by the discovery cards. As you flip those over and you read more, you interact with different people, you read more text, and it's going to give you more and more story throughout the whole game, keeping you invested in the story, making you feel like you are actually in that scenario and performing certain tasks that you need to. You're going to be playing as a virtue. You're not going to be playing as directly as Solomon Kane. And as that virtue, you're going to be guiding Solomon Kane, helping him in his quest. Now, I've only played this game solo as the Providence virtue, but I've had such a good time. It's been fun just having your virtue on the board, guiding Solomon Kane, helping him out. And as the shadows come that nobody else on the board can see but you as the virtue, these shadows are going to be coming at Solomon Kane, and if they get to him, they're going to make him draw a nightmare card, which is not a good thing. But you as the virtue, you can get in their way and basically do like this sonic blast, destroying these shadows before they get to him. But it's cool having to decide, okay, once I do that, my virtue comes back to my board. Now I got to spend, some actions to get the virtue back onto the board because it aids Solomon Kane a little bit better. This one's going to have dice rolling as well. Some really cool card play where you're going to have to cycle through your deck to try to get different cards. And you're going to have to roll these dice to slot those on those cards to perform different actions. I've had a lot of fun with this game. It's kind of, the stories are broken down into two parts, as a story and as a scene. The story is basically just reading story and doing a simple little card game, but the scene is where all the figures are on the board and you're going to have to move them around, interacting with your environment a little bit differently. But both of those I've had a blast with. It's cool playing the story to get a little bit of background before you get to the scene. And on my playthrough of Solomon Kane, like I said, is actually where I tried Trois Pistoles. So I have Solomon Kane to thank for introducing me to my new favorite beer of 2021. But guys, if you're looking for a fantastic solo game, again, I have not played multiplayer, but it still looks really cool because each player plays as a different virtue, and those different virtues have their different strengths and weaknesses. But as a solo game, fantastic. Guys, Robert E. Howard's work is phenomenal, and you have a lot of his story in here to play through. Overall, I love this game, not only as an excellent game of 2021, but this is just highly rated on some of my favorite games list. So again, Solomon Kane by Mythic Games, phenomenal. I love this game. And I'm sad that I didn't go in on the Kickstarter to get Wave 2 of Solomon Kane. Kind of bummed. I'll have to pick that up later. But that's going to be Solomon Kane by Mythic Games. Number 3. Do you dread playing Dice Throne against somebody because they always smash you? Well, look no further. Turn that enemy into an ally with Dice Throne Adventures. That's not me, by the way. That's not me. Technically, Board Game Geek has this as a 2020 release, but probably 90% of the people out there got this in 2021, myself included. But this is basically, if you guys know Dice Throne, which is a head-to-head dice rolling combat game, you take the characters from Dice Throne and you go on a dungeon crawl with them. What a phenomenal idea, right? What a game that is just a simple head-to-head. Now you can play as a dungeon crawl adventure. And it works too. You're going to be going up against minions. You're going to be going up against bosses as well, which act kind of the same as your character. It's just a lot of fun. You get that same feeling of regular Dice Throne, but you're working cooperatively with other people to go against minions and uncover new spaces and get more loot and stuff like that. Throughout the course of the campaign, you can get cards added to your deck, so you can change up your deck a little bit more as well. You can get different tokens that you normally wouldn't as well, so you can use those, changing up your character even more. The cool thing is it doesn't take up a lot of table space. The tiles aren't that big, they're kind of small, and the artwork is just fantastic. Me and my wife did a playthrough up on the channel. I suggest you check that out if you are interested, but overall this is just a lot of fun. Now, I will say, I do still prefer regular Dice Throne over this. I think it's just a little bit more fun. And honestly, I've played with 3 players as well plenty of times, and we have a blast with it. It's probably a little bit more fun than you think it is if you haven't given it a shot. But I still love this design. I think they nailed it, making that head-to-head into a co-op dungeon crawl. Nailed it on the head. The artwork is fantastic. And I'm really excited about taking the future characters and still using them in the dungeon crawl. I hope they come out with more scenarios for this. I hope they come out with more bosses. I would pick that up in a second. I love Dice Throne in general. It is a fantastic, really fun, simple game. It takes 2 seconds to get it out and play. And this doesn't take that much longer of a setup. A little bit longer, right? But not that bad. So overall, I've had a lot of fun playing this game. It's a great family game, and if you want to again turn that head-to-head into a cooperative, or if you want to play it solo, this is the one. So that's going to be Dice Throne Adventures. Really good game, and this is by Roxley, if I didn't mention that before. So that's going to be DTA by Roxley. Number 2. I've shown a lot of love to this game. 2 playthroughs, unboxings, you name it. This is going to be Zombicide 2nd Edition by CMON. This was my entry level into the Zombicide universe, and it delivered. I went mostly all in. I didn't get a few of the add-ons. I didn't think it was quite necessary. But, I got Fort Hendricks, Washington, ZC, and there is so much content that came from here. I did an unboxing, so you guys can check it out if you want to. And like I said, the playthroughs. But we have had a blast with it. It's simple enough. I love just going through the scenarios, and there's a lot of scenarios as well. Going through the scenarios, just mowing down zombies. My wife got like 4 Molotovs, like back to back one turn, and it was just nuts, dude. I don't even think we used them all, but just to like draw that, dude, was insane. She kind of got pissed at me a few of my decisions. I was just like going through the houses and the buildings and whatnot, and it was a lot of fun. But it's cool that you can do that, and I don't mind as much the misses, the ranged misses potentially hitting your teammates. Maybe I would have liked to see that a little bit less. But I've had so much fun with this game. I've played it with my buddies as well. They've had a blast with this. There's so many different characters to choose from. A lot from well-known, they based them on well-known figures. So that's really cool. Like you can play as like a Jackie Chan kind of character, dude. It's so much fun. I was playing as Sean Connery the one time. The artwork is phenomenal. I love the tile set. The minis are fantastic. There's just hordes of zombies. So if you want to just mow down hordes of zombies, dude, I highly recommend a Zombicide. Now, I say that, and I haven't played other Zombicides. So that is just my decision based on 2nd edition. But I've heard pretty good things about most of them. Black Plague is talked about it a lot as well. But I have really enjoyed 2nd edition. There's a ton of content out there for it. It has just been fun. That's how I would describe this game as fun. There's a lot of different scenarios to choose from, and all feel a little bit different. And the campaign modes change up the game quite a bit. They add these little objective cards that you gotta uncover, giving you a little bit of story. So that's cool that after you've played this game a bunch of times, to now have a little bit of a campaign element to it. Every time me and my wife or friends play this, we have a blast. So that's gonna be Zombicide 2nd Edition. All right, so my favorite release of 2021 is gotta be Ankh. There's something about this game, man. I love Blood Rage. I like Rising Sun, so this is kind of like the 3rd game in that Eric Lang trilogy. And honestly, at first, I was a little skeptical. I didn't think the play looked all too appealing, but I was willing to give it a shot, and I'm so glad that I did. It's fun, man. It's such a simple design, and there's a lot of different things that I just enjoy doing, from the point of like whenever you take an action, you can't take an action above that, or it might trigger an event, and the events are all super cool as well. It's even fun getting the Camel Caravan event. I didn't think when, if it was my turn and I triggered that event, I didn't think it was going to be all that cool. Okay, placing camels, but to be able to divide the map to your benefit is really important. It can be huge in the game. And then depending on where the battles happen first and what order and whatnot, dude, it's a lot of fun. Every event feels crucial. And I just love the minis, dude. These Egyptian theme, it is so beautiful, dude. The minis are fantastic. The board is gorgeous. That was another concern of mine that, when I was looking at it, the board didn't look all too appealing, but you get it out and it just looks stunning, dude. I even ended up getting the playmat afterwards, and it's phenomenal. I just love the simple design of it while making it feel like there is this hidden depth there. I also really enjoy the combat. Everybody has the same deck of cards, and as you play them, those go into a discard. So you kind of know what the opponent has left, so you can kind of base your decisions on what you think the opponent is going to do based on the cards they have left. That's something else I didn't say about Kemet that I really like as well. It's kind of the same, mechanism as far as combat. But this game has just blown me away every single time. Most everything from this game I have enjoyed. Now, the merge mechanic. This is kind of that controversial thing, right? Some people love it, others not so much. I tend to fall in the not so much for my own reasons that I kind of laid out in the review. But besides that, I think this game, I have a blast with this. For the simple design and the depth of the game, it's very satisfying. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It looks gorgeous on the table. Really enjoy this. Ankh, definitely my #1 spot of the 2021 releases that I have played. I can't say enough good things about this game. If you get a chance to try this, give this a shot. This is also a fantastic 2-player game. It works at a lot of different player counts. So if you play mostly with 2 players and that was kind of putting you off about Ankh, don't pass on this for that reason. Give this a shot, and I think you'll be blown away. And with that is going to be my top 10 2021 games that I've played. Guys, I had a lot of fun making this list. I want to thank you for watching, and honestly, I am really excited to get my top 10 games of all time. I think that is going to be a really cool list to make, and I'm super curious to see what you guys have to say as well. So let me know your thoughts on this list. What games do you agree with? What games would be in your top 10 of 2021? I am so curious to hear it. And again, I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you guys for showing your support. 2021 overall for me has been a pretty good year, and I really look forward to 2022 and what that is going to bring. And again, I would love to have you guys along for the ride. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Till next time, grab some brews, play some games. I'll catch you on the next one. All right, take care.